Hi, everyone. Welcome to Maximizing Value on Your Last Chance Line with AI and Robotics. Before we get started, there's just a few things that I want to go over. First, everyone here is on mute, so you don't have to worry about that on your end. Second, we are going to be recording this, and so afterward, we will share the link with you and we will put it up on our YouTube channel. And lastly, we're going to have some live Q&A at the end, and there's a Q&A button in your Zoom window. So as you think of questions throughout the webinar, go ahead and pop them in that Q&A box. And now I think we're ready to get started. So I will hand this over to Katie Nellis, who's our solutions engineer, and she will present with Samir Kamat, lead solutions engineer.
Thanks, Sam. You can hit play on that first video. So we all know that AI is a big buzzword across all industries these days. And today, me and Samir are going to explain how and why it's incredibly useful in your operations. So how are AI used in recycling? We start first with being able to see into your plants at a level that most are not able to do currently. Think of the hundreds of thousands of objects that are flowing through your plant every day. And with our platform, EverestLabs, you're able to gain complete visibility into your stream. And that ability to see is gained through our cameras, which easily install atop any conveyor configuration you have. You can click play on the second one. From that, we create a 3D digital capture of all of those materials and use our proprietary AI models to perform decisions in milliseconds on precisely what the object is, what's its value, and so many other useful metrics. We can identify over 30 general material types as well as do specific brand recognition. Can I play on the third one? And with all the data that's captured, our clients are enabled to then make strategic decisions on how to improve their plant operations and incorporate automations, one of which is our effective robotic cells that can do both positive and negative sorting. These are designed to be easily installed and produce efficient recovery rates, all while being hands-off, meaning there's minimal daily maintenance and any monitoring is done in an EverestLabs robotic ops center that operates 24/7. Next slide, please. So what do you get when you apply AI and robotics to your last chance line? The data we're seeing there is immense. First, you gain that understanding of the material composition on that line. It shows you all the materials and their values that are being sent to landfill. You're able to calculate what your recovery rates are and can easily see what your landfill costs are as well based on tonnage and your local fees. And with the analytics, you can do staff optimization. And with robots, you can actually automate pick prioritization. Your audits become easier and automated without having to do manual checks. And by identifying any inefficiencies in your operations, you can use robotics to better recover any recyclables that are still on that line. Next slide, please. So you've heard me reference data, but what does that actually look like? RecycleOS Data is our cloud-stored platform where all your analytics are accessible. We provide standard out-of-the-box dashboards for all our clients and can also configure those and customize your data sets based on your specific use cases or any initiatives that you may have. On the last chance line, the data that's available there, understanding the tonnage, your material comp, your true residue percentages, all help with understanding how your plant process and your equipment are functioning. Similarly, you're able to quantify the valuables that are there. All the recyclable materials that you're losing to landfill. You can see the exact amount of money you're losing each week, each month, each year, and make changes to remedy that. For example, we've seen recyclers incur annual losses between $200K to millions of dollars a year. Next slide. This is a just quick non-exhaustive list of the material categories that our AI can identify and classify, all sorts of plastics, metals, fibers, and more. Next slide. And now I'll hand it off to Samir to talk some more about value that can be found using AI and robotics.
Thanks, Katie. One of our typical use cases of installing our vision system on the last chance line has been not only after all the sorting has taken place, but also before the material actually hits the residue line. This is on the left, you can see a image here where you have about anywhere between 5 to 7 people sorting on a container or a last chance line before the material actually goes to landfill. One of the things we figured out was sometimes a 5 or 7 people may not even be needed to sort through all the material, and determining the right material to pick in a fluctuating commodities market can be really challenging. And one of the key features of our platform is its ability to determine the most valuable recyclable that is on the line and setting that as a priority for either a human sorter or a robot to go after. On the right here, you can see this graph where you can see, depending on the time and the cost, there could be just as a function of time, there could be variations and fluctuations in the commodities pricing, and a constant rise in landfilling costs makes it incredibly challenging to pick all the material all the time. So what this platform really provides is it allows you to understand what the most effective material to go after is. A PET might weigh less, but it may be more valuable depending on again the cost of the product in the market. So we really factor in the landfilling costs and the cost of the recyclable and make recommendations on which products in a particular time or day that either a sorting arm or a human sorter needs to go after and help you with your staffing challenges on this slide. Next slide. The other use case of adding a vision system on the last chance line is to automate material auditing. On the left here, as you can see, this is how a lot of MRFs today really audit their material. A lot of it is manually audited. Sometimes there could be anywhere between 5 to 10 people auditing over a period of 8 hours. And that could be either once every month or once every quarter, again, depending on regulations. What our system allows you to do is go completely autonomous by just installing a small footprint vision system on top of your conveyor line and being able to look at all the material that's coming on this line. You also have the ability to go into the dashboards and pull the data for a particular time period. You could filter it either by the day, by the hour, or even by the month or quarter, depending on your requirements of your auditing processes. And you could really generate a report and use this system. Some of the common use cases are either, you may have some county or state regulations where you need to report a certain number of either say aluminum cans or PET that's going to the landfill. And sometimes, you could set trigger alerts on the vision system that could send you either an email or a text to let you know, hey, that you're really crossing the threshold of a particular commodity on this line. And on states where EPR is legal or is being legalized, it may be necessary for certain MRFs to really have this auditing as a consistent process to really report on how much of material is actually being sorted and what is the effectiveness of the sorting procedure at these recycling facilities. Next slide. Katie, do you want to cover this case study?
Yeah, thanks, Samir. So I'm going to quickly cover a really compelling case that we experienced with a client on their last chance line. As you can see in the photo here, their line configuration was particularly unique. It's a large, wide belt on an incline of 25 degrees. They struggled to staff it and at the time had no idea what exactly they were losing to landfill. So by installing our RecycleOS vision system, the information uncovered there supported installing 2 robots on that line just to start to recover HDPE and PET. As a result of that, they now recover millions of additional containers every year and increase their revenue by over 400K annually. Because this is one of the largest MRFs in the US, the value of the insights on their last chance line was a no-brainer. Next slide. And Samir, I'll let you continue on.
Thanks, Katie. So why do MRFs and recyclers choose EverestLabs AI and robotics? So we have offerings that provide flexible robot cells. And as you can see, we have 3 different images of how robots can be configured. So depending on your line, whether it is flat, inclined, depending on the belt, again, if it's flat or chevron, we can mount our robots in different ways and different angles. It could also be mounted on an inverted beam. And the real advantage to that is it really occupies no space outside of the conveyor belt. Second is our hands-off operations. So we have a robot operations center set up in India where we have people really auditing these robots, and they audit them using software as well as hardware alerts. They constantly make sure that the environment that the robot is in is okay. Anytime when a suction cup needs to be replaced or an end effector needs to be cleaned, they make sure that we send you a text, and we work with you on letting you know when the when a housekeeping procedure is necessary. And we also provide you with alerts to say, hey, this is the performance of the robot that's been on the line, and we have full transparency in providing you not only on reports on the material as we previously discussed, but also on what is the picks per minute of the robot on different lines and what is the pick success percentages. So you have complete visibility into the robots that are physically present at your recycling center. So you could, anytime if the performance drops or anytime if the robot is not doing what it's supposed to do, our team can look at it, fix it, and make sure that it's ready to go. Next slide. So the key takeaways are that AI and robotics will become common tool for MRFs to improve recovery and should be a key part of MRF upgrade strategies. And that could be also to any time if you're putting an optical sorter in, or anytime if you're doing a MRF upgrade, it's always useful to put a vision system on your in-feed as well as your last chance lines, just so you can monitor all the material that's coming in and make sure that these equipment are actually processing the material properly. The next generation of robots that we provide are either better or as good than manual sorting. Consistently, over an 8-hour period, our robots have proved to recover more than 60 items per minute. And that's really unheard of, either from our competition or from other human sorters. With a flexible robot cell design and a service model, the payback on robot investment can be within months without big capital expenses. So anytime if you feel, these equipment cost $1 million, they are super expensive, I'd say just reach out. We have flexible pricing options, and these really don't cost $1 million. We want to work with you. We want to make sure that we set you up for success. And our goal is to make sure that we help you make more money through excess material sorting and also by helping you save on labor costs. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open this up for Q&A. So if you want to go into your Zoom window and pop that Q&A, your question in the Q&A box, we can go ahead and get this answered live. We do have Samir with us for this, but unfortunately, Katie wasn't able to attend for the Q&A this time around. Can't wait to have her next time. Anyways, we have a couple questions that have come through, Samir. So someone says, how do you calculate dollar amounts of what MRFs are losing to the landfill?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our vision system is able to identify material and is able to track how much tonnage of different types of material is coming on that line. We use that data and using the online prices on recyclemarket.net, we are able to come up with an estimate on what that dollar amount is. And what we also add is a diversion cost, and that could be your hauling as well as landfilling costs that is added, into the cost because you're not sending all this material to landfill anymore. So that is how we estimate our dollar amounts on the material or the residue.
Great, thank you. Another question is, they said they're not quite ready for robots yet, but are there other ways that they could use data from their last chance line?
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't necessarily need a robot. Again, the first step is what we recommend is to put a vision system on your last chance or the residual line, and we can help you provide estimates on what is the kind of material you're missing. And so a lot of times our customers have taken advantage of this data. They have gone upstream, fixed the screens, optical sorters, and depending on the amount of percentages and the amount of material that they see on the line, they're able to take actions upstream to fix the equipment to make sure that it's all running properly and it's doing what it's supposed to do. So it's really also a way to perform preventative maintenance, and you don't have to necessarily wait, for 3 or 4 months after, say, a screen has broken to really go and fix it. And you can take really actionable. You can take actions just based on our data, and we can set thresholds and we can make sure that you're set up for success for that.
We have another question here. What does the robot do if it detects hazardous waste?
Yeah, that's a great question again. So our robot has the ability to detect explosives like propane tanks, fire extinguishers, sometimes even batteries. So we don't have any integration partners or ways to integrate SCADA into your SCADA system yet, but we are super willing and excited to work with any MRF who wants to work on a project where if a vision system just detect an hazardous waste or an explosive waste, we can somehow tie it in with your SCADA platform or set up a way where we can either stop the belt or we can provide like a shooter text to let the ops manager know. So there are multiple ways we can go about this. I highly recommend you reaching out so we can set up a partnership together on this project.
Okay, that's good. We have another question here. It's a good question. When using AI data for audits, how do we know if the AI is actually right? Is there some sort of certification that the AI has is correct or not? So basically, how do we know that our AI vision system is accurate?
Yeah, so we have performed studies where we deployed 4 vision systems across different lines, and we had a company who hired an independent contracting company to review the data. And what they found out was that the data that was given out by our AI system was 90% accurate to the real data. So we don't say that our data is 100% accurate all the time. And also a lot depends on how the material is presented to the camera as well. If the material is well spread out, then we have the ability to reach 95% plus accuracy. But if it's all in clusters and if the material is, the burden of depth is high, and if they all are piled on one top of another, then it could result in some inaccuracies as well. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
I think so. Thank you. So we have a question here, and I think you can probably talk about our Caglia case study. Do you capture aluminum in the last chance line? If so, what type? I am an aluminum consumer who specializes in purchasing, processing, and melting lower grade Murph aluminum.
Yeah, so we do recover aluminum on the last chance line, and it is mostly we can really recover any kind of aluminum. A lot of aluminum that we do recover is mostly aluminum cans like UBC, and we have multiple robots in facilities where we are currently doing that today.
Great. Another question is, do the robots create a higher noise environment requiring mandatory hearing protection?
That's a good question. So what we have seen is, or based on our studies, the robots really don't create, or rather, the noise created by our robotic system is comparatively lower than other equipment that's out there in the Mars. And just as a safety measure, the regular really hearing protection that is recommended and used in the MRF is more than sufficient to be around and work around our robots.
Awesome. And then just a couple more questions, and then I think we're done. And how many commercial facilities are your robots currently being used?
Yeah, so we have our robots deployed in 55 plus sorting locations today. So there's been a lot of interest. We are continuously growing, and we'd want to make sure that we have the ability to deploy the robot first in your facility, especially if you have any urgency in sorting. So we'd say please reach out, and we can get this going.
All right. And then last question, is there much downtime for your installation?
Yeah, so there is really no downtime in our installation. And when I say that, what I mean is that we are willing to work on your schedule. So we would typically come deploy it on a weekend if you're not running, or in a graveyard shift if that's when you do your maintenance. So we can install in really any time period that works for your Murph. And typically we can set up robots like in over a weekend or less, and get all the system up and running and make sure that it's all running on a Monday morning. So the downtime itself is pretty low for installation.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Samir, and thanks everyone who attended. Like I said at the beginning, we did record this, and so I'm going to download the recording. We'll go ahead and put it up on our YouTube, but I will also send out an email to everyone who registered and attended the link to this webinar. Thanks again. I hope everyone has a really nice rest of your day. See ya.